Man or machine? During July 2003, the Museum of Science in Cambridge, Massachusetts exhibited what Honda calls the world's most advanced humanoid robot, Asimo, the advanced step in innovative mobility. Honda's brainchild is on tour in North America and delighting audiences wherever it goes. After 17 years in the making, Asimo stands at 4 feet tall, weighs around 115 pounds, and looks like a child in an astronaut's suit. Though it is difficult to see Asimo's face at a distance, on closer inspection it has a smile and two large eyes that conceal cameras. The robot cannot work autonomously, its actions are remote-controlled by scientists through the computer in its backpack. Yet watching Asimo perform at a show in Massachusetts, it seemed uncannily human. The audience cheered as Asimo walked forwards and backward, side to side and up and downstairs. After the show, a number of people told me that they would like robots to play more of a role in daily life. One even said that the robot would be like another person. While the Japanese have made huge strides in solving some of the engineering problems of human kinetics and bipedal movements, for the past 10 years scientists at MIT's former Artificial Intelligence (AI) lab, recently renamed the Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory (CSAIL), have been making robots that can behave like humans and interact with humans. One of MIT's robots, Kismet, is an anthropomorphic head and has 2 eyes, complete with eyelids, ears, a mouth, and eyebrows. It has several facial expressions, including happy, sad, frightened, and disgusted. Human interlocutors are able to read some of the robot's facial expressions, and often change their behavior towards the machine as a result, for example, playing with it when it appears sad. Kismet is now in MIT's museum, but the ideas developed here continue to be explored in new robots. COG, short for cognition, is another pioneering project from MIT's former AI lab. COG has a head, eyes, 2 arms, hands and a torso, and its proportions were originally measured from the body of a researcher in the lab. The work on COG has been used to test theories of embodiment and developmental robotics, particularly getting a robot to develop intelligence by responding to its environment via sensors, and to learn through these types of interactions. MIT is getting furthest down the road to creating human-like and interactive robots. Some scientists argue that Asimo is a great engineering feat but not an intelligent machine, because it is unable to interact autonomously with unpredictability in its environment in meaningful ways, and learn from experience. Robots like COG and Kismet and new robots at MIT's CSAIL and Media Lab, however, are beginning to do this. These are exciting developments. Creating a machine that can walk, make gestures, and learn from its environment is an amazing achievement. And watch this space, these achievements are likely rapidly to be improved upon. Humanoid robots could have a plethora of uses in society, helping to free people from everyday tasks. In Japan, for example, there is an aim to create robots that can do tasks similar to an average human and also act in more sophisticated situations as firefighters, astronauts, or medical assistants to the elderly in the workplace and in homes, partly in order to counterbalance the effects of an aging population. Such robots say much about the way in which we view humanity, and they bring out the best and worst of us. On one hand, these developments express human creativity, our ability to invent, experiment, and to extend our control over the world. On the other hand, the aim to create a robot like a human being is spurred on by dehumanized ideas, by the sense that human companionship can be substituted by machines, that humans lose their humanity when they interact with technology, or that we are a little more than surface and ritual behaviors that can be simulated with metal and electrical circuits.
The power of nothing.
Do you want to come up with a new form of alternative medicine? Of course. I'll show you how. Be warm, sympathetic, encouraging, and enthusiastic. Your treatment should involve physical contact, and each session with your patients should last at least half an hour. Encourage your patients to take an active part in their treatment and understand how their disorders relate to the rest of their lives. Tell them that their own bodies possess the true power to heal. Make them pay you out of their own pockets. Describe your treatment in familiar words, but embroidered with a hint of mysticism: energy fields, energy flows, energy blocks, meridians, forces, auras, rhythms, and the like. Refer to the knowledge of an earlier age, wisdom carelessly swept aside by the rise of blind, mechanistic science. Oh, come off it, you're saying. Something invented off the top of your head could not possibly work, could it? Well, yes, it could, and often well enough to earn you a living. A good living if you're sufficiently convincing, or better still, really believe in your therapy. Many illnesses get better on their own, so if you are lucky and administer your treatment at just the right time, you will get the credit. But that's only part of it. Some of the improvements really would be down to you. Your healing power would be the outcome of a paradoxical force that conventional medicine recognizes but remains oddly ambivalent about: the placebo effect. Placebos are treatments that have no direct effect on the body, yet still work because the patient has faith in their power to heal. Most often the term refers to a dummy pill, but it applies just as much to any device or procedure, from a sticking plaster to a crystal to an operation. The existence of the placebo effect implies that even quackery may confer real benefits, which is why any mention of placebo is a touchy subject for many practitioners of complementary and alternative medicine, who are likely to regard it as tantamount to a charge of charlatanism. In fact, the placebo effect is a powerful part of all medical care, orthodox or otherwise, though its role is often neglected or misunderstood. One of the great strengths of CAM may be its practitioners' skill in deploying the placebo effect to accomplish real healing. Complementary practitioners are miles better at producing nonspecific effects and good therapeutic relationships, says Edzard Ernst, professor of CAM at Exeter University. The question is whether CAM could be integrated into conventional medicines, as some would like, without losing much of this power. At one level, it should come as no surprise that our state of mind can influence our physiology. Anger opens the superficial blood vessels of the face, sadness pumps the tear glands. But exactly how placebos work their medical magic is still largely unknown. Most of the scant research done so far has focused on the control of pain because it's one of the commonest complaints and lends itself to experimental study. Here, attention has turned to the endorphins, morphine-like neurochemicals known to help control pain. But exactly how placebos work their medical magic is still largely unknown. Most of the scant research to date has focused on the control of pain because it's one of the commonest complaints and lends itself to experimental study. Here, attention has turned to the endorphins, natural counterparts of morphine that are known to help control pain. Any of the neurochemicals involved in transmitting pain impulses or modulating them might also be involved in generating the placebo response, says Don Price, a neurosurgeon at the University of Florida who studies the placebo effect and dental pain. But endorphins are still out in front. That case has been strengthened by the recent work of Fabrizio Benedetti of the University of Turin, who showed that the placebo effect can be abolished by a drug, naloxone, which blocks the effects of endorphins. Benedetti induced pain in human volunteers by inflating a blood pressure cuff on the forearm. He did this several times a day for several days, using morphine each time to control the pain. On the final day, without saying anything, he replaced the morphine with a saline solution. This still relieved the subject's pain, a placebo effect. But when he added naloxone to the saline, the pain relief disappeared. Here was direct proof that placebo analgesia is mediated, at least in part, by these natural opiates. Still, no one knows how belief triggers endorphin release, or why most people can't achieve placebo pain relief simply by willing it. Though scientists don't know exactly how placebos work, they have accumulated a fair bit of knowledge about how to trigger the effect. A London rheumatologist found, for example, that red dummy capsules made more effective painkillers than blue, green or yellow ones. Research on American students revealed that blue pills make better sedatives than pink, a color more suitable for stimulants. Even branding can make a difference. If Aspro or Tylenol is what you like to take for a headache, their chemically identical generic equivalents may be less effective. Treatment delivery matters, too. When the major tranquilizer chlorpromazine was first introduced, a doctor in Kansas categorized his colleagues by whether they were keen on it, openly skeptical of its benefits, or took a let's try and see attitude. His conclusion: the more enthusiastic the doctor, the better the drug performed. And this year Ernst surveyed published studies that compared doctors' bedside manners. The studies turned up one consistent finding: physicians who adopt a warm, friendly and reassuring manner, he reported, are more effective than those whose consultations are formal and do not offer reassurance. Warm, friendly and reassuring are precisely Cam's strong suits, of course. Many of the ingredients of that opening recipe, the physical contact, the generous swathes of time, the strong hints of supernormal healing power, are just the kind of things likely to impress patients. It's hardly surprising, then, that complementary practitioners are generally best at mobilizing the placebo effect, says Arthur Kleinman, professor of social anthropology at Harvard University.